As a game design major, something important and fascinating to me is the clockwork and inner workings of games. How they function, what makes them successful or not, and especially what makes them stay relevant over the years. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is no different. In this series, I aim to give both myself and you all a better understanding of this mystifying TCG. Everyone take a seat, it's time for game design in Yu-Gi-Oh! And hello people. Hey guys, it's Rogue48, and we're back with another episode of Game Design Elements in Yu-Gi-Oh! As always, I am not a professional in this field. I am a student. I am using this as a way to reteach myself. I've already learned, this is all in my mind, but this is a way for me to reteach myself all of it, so that I can just have a better understanding and a better grasp of the field I'm going into, as well as this is a way to kind of teach you all and also give myself a better understanding of the TCG Yu-Gi-Oh! As well as it's just more content to make for the channel. As always, my sources are going to be in the description. I know for the last episode, the only source was the book Rules of Play by Katie Salen and Eric Zimmerman. As always, if you are interested in any of this, I highly suggest getting this book. I truly do. But this book is phenomenal for game design. I highly suggest it. But anyways, let's jump into, and I'm sure you guys are confused by the title of the video because, you know, week 1, it was Aegon Aaliyah Mimesis. Week 2, it was the Magic Circle, and it was Meaningful Play. And then last week, it was Emergent Gameplay. But this week, it just says rules, and I'm sure a lot of you are sitting here thinking, well, I know the rules, or at the very least, I know enough of the rules to compete at tournaments. And yes, you do. However, this is a little different. So rules, from a game design standpoint, are rules are made to limit player actions, which sounds kind of weird in Yu-Gi-Oh!, especially with Eldritch Emancipator, where they just have an unlimited amount of things they can do per turn, but they're here to limit player actions. They are explicit and unambiguous, and that doesn't mean that you see expletives like shit and bitch in the rules. It just means that they are easy to understand and they are stated right there. And if it's not in there, it's not a rule, sorry. They are shared by all the players, they are fixed with no changing or modifying them, and they are repeatable. One example of this would be the different phases per turn. So for example, this would be draw phase, standby phase, main phase 1, battle phase, main phase 2, end phase. That is repeatable, that is shared by all the players, and those are explicit and unambiguous. And of course, within those, player options are limited. You can't normal summon during the draw phase or the standby phase unless there's some card out there that says you can. You can't. Oh man, there was recently a card released that said something like you can normal summon during the battle phase, so that shoots down what I was about to say. And then another example would be you can only respond to a counter trap card with another counter trap. So that is, again, shared by all players, repeatable to an extent, you know, but etc. and so forth. But there are, of course, that's not the full depth of rules in game design. There are 3 different types of rules. They are constitutive or constitutive. There are operational, and there are implicit. Okay, and then there's also, I believe it's elegant rules, and those are house-made rules, which go back to Emergent Gameplay for that. I'm just going to really quickly double check to make sure that they are. Yep. Okay. Elegant rules. And this is coming directly from my notes from school. Elegant rules allow players to focus on the experience of play rather than on the logic of the rules. And then in quotes, pleasingly ingenious and simple. House rules, homebrew rules, emergent gameplay, more or less. These notes are almost all and almost completely verbatim from Rules of Play. I do my own way of taking notes, so, but yes, again, Rules of Play, please check it out if you're interested. Back on topic. So there are 3 types of rules, with the 4th elegant rules being, I would count it in there, but I understand if no one else does. So let's jump into all of these, with the first one being constitutive or constitutive. With that definition being, and again, this comes directly from my notes, which is most likely from the book Rules of Play. So again, there will be quotes up and down over here. So, the abstract core mathematical rules of a game. These are the fundamental inner workings of the game. That's very simple. These probably scrolled up super quickly. These are not the written down rules so much as they are the core of the rules, if that makes any sense. Kind of like card interactions, spell speeds, destruction versus negation, etc. The next type of rules, operational rules, are the rules that players use in order to play the game. These are the rules that you write down. So yeah, these are the ones that you write down. And this is stuff like you start by shuffling your deck and cutting your opponent's deck. Stuff like you begin by drawing 5 cards, and you draw 1 card during the draw phase unless there is a card that specifies something else happens during the draw phase other than you draw 1 card. Other stuff like, you can only normal summon once per turn unless there's a card like double summon that allows you to do that multiple times. These are the rules that are written down. Like when they give you the rule book that I have behind my dresser where I sit and film everything on, so I'm not going to go reach that. But when you get these rule books in like structure decks and starter decks, these are the operational rules, are everything that's written down in there. When people apply to be judges and learn these rules to be judges for events, these are the rules. Those are the rules that they like study and operate and work on and such. So those are operational rules. The third type of rules are implicit rules. And these are basic etiquette and behaviors that players expect of one another. Genius. What is that? Well, it's stuff like the famous story about the dude who kept playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Friendship, the handshake card. Or the guy who, the guy would play it and he wouldn't shower and just reek. And people would be like, well, I'm not touching you, I forfeit. So now there is a rule that is you need to stay showered and clean. So that would fall under operational rules now that I think about it, but this is also stuff like don't flip the table if you are losing. Read your cards. So, if your opponent comes in and uses the Prank Kids Fusion, and Fusion summons out a Prank Kids Fusion monster, and then starts to do Alistair the Invoker plays afterwards, because you can't summon non-Prank Kids monsters after using that fusion card, either the fusion or the field spell. One of them limits you to Prank Kids monsters, and your opponent might use one and then start using Alistair the Invoker or Frogs plays after that, and you expect them to know their own cards, so you don't question it or read their cards. So part of this is on you, but at the same time, your opponent should know what their cards do. This is not coming from personal experience. Anyways, that's rules in game design as applied to Yu-Gi-Oh! This is an important one to know and understand, because just like knowing the explicit written down rules of the game, knowing knowing those rules, yes, as well as knowing the interactions and the just the way the rules work in action, which we're actually going to cover next week. more so the implicit rules, knowing basic etiquettes to play against and play with people, good sportsmanship, reading your cards, etc. These are important to play the game because, if you don't follow these basic etiquettes and behaviors, you might still be playing within the boundaries of the game and still playing by the explicitly written down rules, but you might not have anyone to play against because people might just be like, well, you're a dick, so how about no? It's good to not be awful to people if you can try it. Whew, wow. Anyways, those are rules in game design as applied to Yu-Gi-Oh! Sorry if the title was weird, because I know that a lot of people were probably looking at that and being like, oh, cool. He's just going to read off the rules book that we get in starter and structure decks. Thank you, idiot. Rambling aside, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Desperate48. Please, if you wish to follow this series or follow my other series, Built From Nothing, where I do a sealed-only DDD, please hit the subscribe button and make sure to ring the bell so that you get notified anytime I upload. With that being said, if you enjoyed the video, like. If you have any questions, leave a comment. Subscribe just to help me out. I'm Desperate48, and I will see you all next time.